That was some of the most powerful worship music I've ever heard, and I've been to a lot of churches. We moved around a bit, but wow. So yes, good morning again, everyone. My name is Kate Dahlstrom, and in addition to having known Tony and advocating together for the marginalized populations for the last 5 years, I currently serve on the boards of BDAI, before, during, and after incarceration, NAMI Grand Traverse. NAMI is National Alliance on Mental Illness, and I have left some brochures on the table back there. And I'm also on the board of Northern Lakes Community Mental Health, which is our area community mental health agency. But first and foremost, I am a wife. I am a mother of 3 adult children. And Joe, if you'll bring up that first picture, please. So this is our family. This picture was taken, oh my gosh, probably back in 2007 or 8. Our 3 children, Ben, who I will speak about today, is on the right. So in this picture, Ben was probably 20 years old, and he had been attempting college at University of Michigan for a couple of years. Ben's mental illness is one that we never saw coming. Ben excelled in high school sports and academics. He went off, as I said, to U of M after graduation, and that's when his life and our lives started to go sideways. It wasn't until about 2011 that Ben's mental illness became evident to us as a mental illness. We thought he was just taking time to grow up. He was off, to college and partying probably more than he should, like many young men. But we became fully convinced and aware that he had a true mental illness in about 2011. Over the years, Ben has spent at least a year in jails, various jails actually. He's been in jails downstate. He's been in the Grand Traverse County Jail for probably a year if you add up the different visits that he has had there. All of these times spent in jail are related or due to that mental illness. Ben would do things like, he became vegetarian, so he would go into grocery stores, and if people were shopping for meat or things of that nature, Ben would have to talk to them and explain why meat was a bad choice. And then, of course, in time, the store manager would come and ask Ben to leave, and Ben would say, no, I'm really having this good conversation, I'm going to stay right here. The police would be called, and in one of those instances, Ben ended up being tased by police and taken to jail. And he was taken to jail other times, but he actually has been tased a couple of different times over the years. And, another time Ben had apple seeds, and he decided to plant them in some field that looked like a perfect place for apple trees. But it wasn't on his property or ours, it was someone else's. And Ben is wandering around, and of course the homeowner called the police, and they asked Ben to leave, and it's the same situation, same scenario. Resisting arrest, he doesn't get completely violent, he just said, no, I haven't done anything wrong, I'm not going with you. That's resisting arrest. Once you get 3 of those in the criminal justice system, it's considered a felony. Now, everyone at the jail and everyone that's worked with Ben understand that he has a mental illness and he needs treatment. Unfortunately, because of this mental illness and many like Ben's, these people don't understand that there is anything wrong with them. They resist treatment, and then time and again, they're in the jails. Now, we do have a court system that allows us to get court orders for treatment, but that's not easy, but we can help. This is one of the things that we can help families do. So in any case, those are not unique to Ben. Those things happen to a lot of people with mental illness. And as you can imagine, someone like Ben, who looks perfectly healthy, and he doesn't look that healthy now, but he's still healthy and looking, he can't hold down a job. But other people that might look at him and go, what's this guy, why isn't he working? He shouldn't be allowed to get services, he ought to be working. Well, there's a lot more to it. And if you know anyone with mental illness, you understand that. So, for parents and family members of those folks who have that, we constantly worry that he's going to offend someone and end up beaten up and in a ditch somewhere. And so for a while we thought, well, when he's in jail, at least he's safe. But he isn't safe, we found out, because there are some very cruel inmates in jails that say horrible things like, go hang yourself, we know this for a fact, and when I get out, I'm gonna go rape your mother and sister. That I found out through jail notes. So there is often no safe place for these individuals. The result is that probably up to 40% of the jail populations in Michigan and other states as well are folks with untreated serious mental illness or substance use disorder. I have to take a quick drink. Excuse me. If you would go to the second picture, Joe, please, now. So how can you help? How is there hope in this story? Well, there's several ways that you can help. First, it's just being here and understanding how difficult mental illness is to treat and what often happens to those with mental illness and why they're in jail. It starts with you and understanding the situation and then sharing that understanding with others. And the other thing is support funding. Support funding for early treatment and research. We haven't really had that much money devoted to mental health research. That's starting to change, and it helps when people like you, grassroots level, support or demand that we fund mental health research. Because there's a big connection between the mind and the body. One can mess with the other, and vice versa. And so there's a lot we have yet to learn on treatments and causes for mental illnesses. In fact, the average population, in our American population, 39.5% of us will have some form of cancer in our lifetime, but 46% of us will have some kind of mental illness. Now, that might be a short term and moderate form, might be something like panic attacks, but 46% will experience some kind of mental illness. So we need funding, we need the research, we need the treatments, and we need the understanding. And then also to support local agencies like BDAI in the work that we do, the work that NAMI does, the work that these other agencies do, and realize that we are all in this together. We can avoid these things that result from not getting treatment. We can do it. And we're all in this together. And one thing I want to close with is that mental illness is not contagious, but hope and understanding are. So spread them around, please. Now I'd like to have you hear from Suzanne Prentice.